Saturday morning at Phoenix, we're awaiting the final rounds of practice for Sunday's 500K, the Checker 500, 312 miles around this flat 1 mile track that's got a dogleg on the backstretch. It's really sort of an unusual track. The landscape is gorgeous, blues and purples and pinks, and it's just a great location. I think it's one of the prettiest locations for a racetrack that we've got on the NASCAR Tour. What we've got is Carl Edwards on the pole. Thursday night, his car with Cameron Dotson won the USAC Silver Crown race here, and Carl got the spot. He's really thrilled about that. He, of course, is a good old short track racer from the Midwest. We had Brian Sperber's B2B NASCAR Business Summit here on yesterday. Brian France was there, Brent Duar from GM, he's the big honcho that does racing, and Rick Hendry, of course, was there, trying to apologize in a sense for having the two best teams and the two best drivers on the tour today by far. They're about 180 points ahead of anybody else in the championship chase. They're only separated by 30 points going into Sunday's race, and I think they might come out of here tied or virtually tied and go to Homestead, and I'm wondering if the Homestead, as freaky as that place is sometimes, the championship might come down to the two guys who have the best pit crews in terms of repairing their cars. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Remember Juan Pablo's crash last year when he got tangled up with Ryan Newman coming into the third turn? A lot of stuff can happen out there, and there are a lot of guys under a lot of pressure. Speaking of under pressure, we had Patrick Carpentier making his debut on an oval for Ray Everham and George Gillette. He sweated out Friday morning all over the place. Ansi just really couldn't really handle things. Got Kenny Schrader to help him out. Qualified 24th. Smooth. He's going to make the race. He's going to be in the race. He's going to make laps. He's going to learn pit stops. He's got a lot to learn. He knows that. He's going to be full-time Cup next year, so he's got to learn real quick. We've also got 3 Indy 500 winners in the field. Jacques Villeneuve, of course, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Sam Ornish made the race. That's going to be a legendary, a milestone, I think, for NASCAR, having 3 Indy 500 winners in the same race. Not since 1969. If we had that in 69, they weren't even all Indy 500 winners at the time. A couple of those guys eventually won the Indy 500. Jeff Gordon starts in the second row. Jimmy Johnson starts in the third row. Pit road here is pretty difficult. We saw that in the truck race last night when Kevin Harvick got into one of the other guys' pits a little too tight and caused a little bit of a ruckus there. Pit road here is pretty tight, so good pit position makes a lot of difference. Jeff Gordon says those two guys both have good pit positions. We asked Carl Edwards if he's going to run Jimmy Johnson and Jeff as hard as his teammate Matt Kenseth did Jimmy last weekend in Texas. He said sure, and I wouldn't doubt it. Carl has a reputation for hard driving. The B2B we were talking about, Brian Sperber, the guy that runs this track here, does a really good job. The 4th annual business summit, sort of a B2B for Phoenix area businesses to come out here and see some of the stars and sort of network with NASCAR. It's good for NASCAR, it's good for local businesses. Brian France was there. He talked about TV. The TV ratings are down across the board, down in the chase particularly, but he's not particularly worried. He says TV across the board, prime time, daytime, whatever it is. He says that ABC is comfortable with what they see, so he's comfortable with what he sees. The car tomorrow. This is a car tomorrow race. It's the last big test in action for these guys, and a lot of guys don't have it right. Jack Roush finally has it right. Rick Hendrick has had it right all year. Some of the guys over at Childress's have had it right, and some haven't had it right. Jeff Burton says he's going to be really interested to see how his car handles in Sunday's race, the car tomorrow. I'm not a fan of the car tomorrow, but that's what NASCAR says we're going to run. Looking at the chase points, 206 versus 207. If this were last year, Clint Boyer, with the points that he's accumulated, would be right at the top. That means that Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon are scoring points in the chase at a far faster rate than anybody in the 4 race. And to cap things off, NASCAR just released a rather lengthy Champions Week brochure detailing where everybody's going to be in New York City for the entire week after Thanksgiving. It starts off Monday, ringing the bell at Wall Street. Then they're going to do Times Square, do a lap around Times Square. They got all 12 drivers there. They got the crew chiefs there. They got the whole 9 yards there. They're going to be going to the Brooklyn Bridge. They're going to be going to the 21 Club. They're going to be going here and there and yon. It's going to be a long week of media blitzing by NASCAR, and we'll see how New York takes it. You know, New York can chew you up and spit you out pretty easily, so we'll have to see how well this is. This is a far longer and more detailed Champions Week than we've ever seen before. This is going to be interesting to watch. And it, of course, ends Friday night with the Black Tie Awards banquet at the Waldorf Astoria. And will it be Jimmy Johnson on the stage or Jeff Gordon? I'm almost betting that it's going to be Jeff Gordon. He's just been so good this year that I think he's got just that edge. This is going to be the track. He needs to win here. He needs to beat Jimmy Johnson here. Then they go to Homestead. That's the report from Phoenix on Saturday morning. We've got 8 more days of the season, and then we go to New York. Waldorf Astoria. Let's go see what they're doing out on the track. Mike Mulhern for the Winston-Salem Journal and JournalNow.com.